Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Nolan, and tonight what I thought we'd do is talk about a brand new album that I haven't covered on the channel, as well as an artist I haven't really covered. I've mentioned him in passing months and months ago, and of course I'm talking about the fabulous, one of my very favorite singers in rock and roll, Paul Rodgers, formerly of Free and, of course, Bad Company. Now, Paul hasn't had a really great time in the last 4 years. He has suffered at least 2 major strokes, as well as more than 10 minor ones on top of that. He lost his ability to speak at one point. His brain would say this, and his mouth would say that. And, of course, as a singer, that's devastating news. He also was so depressed over the situation, he wouldn't even begin to pick up guitars, although family members always provided one to be around him, and eventually it worked. So talk about a phoenix rising. Not only that, he gets together with Sun Records, that's right, the famous Sun Records, another phoenix rising recently, and he puts out his own solo album this year. And what a great album this is, folks. You know, this album has its share of rockers as well as ballads, pretty much the same kind of stuff that we've come to want from Bad Company in the past. In fact, this record sounds a bit like Bad Company, but then again, how could it not? It's a little tamer in sections, but you know what? I've got to tell you, it is a feast for the ears, folks. I say that because, you see, Paul Rodgers wasn't just one of the greatest singers of rock and roll in the past. On this record, you can still tell the man still has his chops. Now, a lot of you know that I have said many times my favorite singer in rock and roll, indeed, my favorite singer of all time is Robert Plant with Led Zeppelin. But you know what? There is a paper thinness between Robert Plant and Paul Rodgers. Not as far as range or even the grit that Robert Plant could supply us. It was the tonal and vocal and note-by-note control that Paul Rodgers served us with, blazed with blues at the root of it, every single time, that really just, I'll tell you, this man is one of my wife's favorite singers. I showed her one single track off this album, and she goes, "What, Bad Company's back together?" All right, so this album is fantastic. Now, I do have a couple of criticisms on this album, though. There are 2 tracks that, as far as the mix go, as far as the mastering went for this album, that drop into almost a hole twice on this album. Now, by that, I mean in a sonic way. You've got all these hot signals on every single cut of this album, except for 2. The first time this happens is on track 4, Living It Up, and then on track 6, Take Love. Now, I do want to say one thing here, folks, is that both of these songs, as far as songs go, they're fine. Now, I don't know if this is because he recorded these 2 tracks in a different studio, but you would have thought during mastering they would have equalized those differences. But besides those 2 happenings, those 2 dropouts in the album is fantastic. My favorite cut on the album, Melting, the very last cut on the album. This is my kind of acoustic music. This is my kind of acoustic rock. All right, a big shout out to Old Crow, who gave me the idea to even do this video. I wasn't even going to shoot one today, Old Crow, so you put me to work. All right, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, dispersing the video to a wider audience. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, I've said it before, it's so easy. Love those cars. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, and then you too will be notified of all my future videos. All right, folks, it's hot as hell out here, but I want to hear from you. What do you think of this album? To me, It's a clear winner. All right, I'm Michael Nolan. This is The Bottom Line, and I'll see you in my next video.